I am Mr. Soul of a Man, 504, aka Damon Alvarez, author, creative, world traveler, um, podcast host, um, spiritual life coach extraordinary. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and get straight into it, man. I hope everybody is enjoying this holiday. If you are off, I hope you enjoyed the weekend. Getting straight into it, man. So this is something I want to talk about for a while now. So um we often change careers or things change in our lives, and we come to a point where it's something, it just gets old, man, and it's just time to move on. So my life as a massage therapist was very interesting. I it started in 2007. The training, I went to like a 12-month course. I went to work during the day, I went to school at night, and don't ask me how I did that. Back then, I guess I just had that energy to do that, and that focus and that drive. And I really wanted to get into the medical field. So, I was in Mobile, Alabama. This was right after Hurricane Katrina. So, and massage school was so fun, man. I had like the some of the coolest classmates. I really, really, really did. And somehow, some way, I finished that. And the cool part about it was I graduated undergrad in massage therapy school the same year. So I finished undergrad in '07. I finished a little bit before that, but because of the hurricane, they had to combine a few graduating classes. But anyway, so yeah, man. So moving forward, went back to Louisiana. I studied. I actually had to go back to school. I went back and took some classes for anatomy because anatomy was just so yeah, so I took some classes for anatomy. I applied for my license. I moved to Texas, and they said the rest of history. Good night, folks. No, but after that, I got my license. It's probably like the end of December '09. I started working the end of December. The money was actually, now I wanted to get into the reason why I got into massage, because I always wanted to get into the medical field, and was through trial and error working on people. Folks like, hey man, really good at this, maybe you should look into it. And I remember like '06, I think I was actually going to sign up for a school in Texas, but something worked. It didn't work out like that. So I went to school in Mobile. I finished up. I passed my national certification tests. Took me like 2, 3 tries. The test was not easy. It was like 100 and something questions on muscles and bones and a partridge and a pear tree. So after moving on from that, I finally got into the field, and I was working, working here in Houston, and that was another issue. And like the beginning, I loved it, man. The positives for me was it was something I was passionate about. I was gonna take over the world of massage. I just had this grand plan of just traveling the world, and nothing was gonna stop me. But along came a thing called Houston, Texas. My goodness. But anyway, so where I'm working out here, in Houston, and the one major thing, like in 2000, I'd say 11 and 12, man, the money was so good. Like the money was like extraordinary. And at the time, I had a national certification, so I, could have, woulda, coulda, shoulda, could have moved on and went anywhere. But I gained a lot of skills, not just in massage, customer service. I was able, the positive, I was able to meet people from all over the world, all walks of life. You would be blown away by the experience you get by certain things that you're able to do in hindsight. When you look back at it, one main thing for me was dealing with, let's say, certain uh where I am, they say everything is bigger in Texas, and including the racism. That was one. There was one sour point. Unfortunately, I always said that looking back, man, if I was just in a different city doing what I truly loved, man, who knows how it could have turned out. But things work out how they work out. It's almost like a 10-year run with me and massage. And I remember um I was working in like Spring, Texas, and it was so racist down there. Oh my goodness. Those people just walk around with like Klan outfits on in Spring, like for real. So yes, I said that. But it's sad that when you really have a love and a passion for something, it just sours by maybe the people that you're working around, or or other things. And then um man, there were just so many different stories I could tell. But it was just, and then you get tired of the people who are just like, you yeah, you go to work with the best of intentions, and uh you just run into people, you go to the front, they see you, and their whole demeanor changes, like, I don't want a guy, I don't want a man working on me. This is, sometimes men and women. So I'm like, wow, this I like, man, this is crazy, but you live and you learn. Me and the people of Houston, I believe it's like oil and when it comes to massage, when it came to massage, it was like oil and water. Me and these people just did, there were some cool people I worked on. Mainly they were people who were not from Houston, people who were from, let's say, out of town, or they were like, imports, kind of new in here, different countries and things like that. I got along with those people like swimmingly, like a fish, uh, like a fish in water. What is going on, Mr. What is going on, Mr. Paul? Are you? So yeah, man, like a fish in water. Me and those folks got along swimmingly. It's just the other people, and there's a lot of entitlement here in Houston, with certain people, and how they're raised, and the system that they're raised in. And it's just, and of course those people don't look like me, but that's just what it is. But again, I press forward, and to backtrack, when I was in massage therapy school, they said, listen, the one thing you don't want to go do is work for certain companies. And I took that to heart, but of course I didn't listen, because these same companies they told me to work for. Did I gain experience? Yes. Did I meet? So the therapists were amazing. Well, most of them were amazing. Some not so much, but you know how it is, corporate work. You know how that goes. But it was just it got to the point where, they say hostile work environments. You would see, like, your skill level is up here and other people's are down here. But of course massage therapy is a female dominated industry, so of course they're going to get booked, over you. That's just how it was. Me, professionalism times 1,000. Never had an issue with that. Never, you know, um, got into it with any of those folks. Always held my peace, because you're talking about your livelihood and your license. Because I wasn't gonna sit down and argue with those idiots. Seriously. But moving forward, it it got to the point where it starts to wear on you. And anytime you really dedicate yourself to something in life, you really want to get a lot out of it. I'm not saying I didn't get anything out of it. Like I said, the money at one point was amazing. the therapist that I worked with was so like it was so classy, so cool. To this day, I'm still cool with some of them. Man, more or less through social media, and I've had the most amazing conversations with those folks, man. And I miss the heck out of them, but as all things go, all good things have to come to an end, and that's just naturally what it was. And for me, being a male therapist, it's very tricky because not just being a male therapist, but being black male therapist, African American male therapist. You're in a room with a complete stranger, and it could even though I'm professional, I don't know this person that's I don't know the person that's on the table, seriously. Um moving on from that, because I've heard story. I remember I heard a story one time where, what's going on, ma'am, how are you? Thanks everybody for joining. So one time I heard a story where the lady in the front desk, she said that she was working somewhere, and somebody called, like the husband called and said, uh oh, my wife just said something happened in the room, or something to that effect. But what happened was, the only thing that really saved the therapist was that the therapist was like already in the front while the person was on the phone. So this, whatever they said that happened, couldn't happen. So basically they were trying to, and you could say, well, hey man, that's any industry you get into, it that there's good and bad, blah blah. I understand that, and you're dealing with people, and I always say human beings are the most dangerous animals on the planet, seriously. Like for real. But it's just I'm just happy, knock on wood, that I wasn't caught up in any situations like that, because I've seen dudes leave. I've heard stories, sexual assault, dudes leaving in handcuffs and all that crazy stuff, man. And for me, I got out 2000. I got out like 2018, and for me that was the perfect time for me to get out, because I saw what was coming. I saw the kind of the wave, kind of how society is right now. Uh, with the Me Too movement and all of that stuff, because women are now more empowered. It's good in a way, and it's bad, good for women, bad for men. Like for me, it's all it takes is for some white lady to go to the front and say, "Oh, that guy, he said this," or "I felt uncomfortable," and I'm called to the office for whatever. I have no idea what's going on. Not that this never happened to me, but I'm just saying I'm glad I got out when I did. And I'm not saying every dude, or like, oh yeah, of course a woman can go and do well. I've heard women do crazy stuff in a room. They never get in trouble. That's just how the ball bounces. Like I said, besides therapy is a female dominated industry. So but anyway, I'm just I'm happy that I'm happy that I at least went into something for a while that I was happy with doing, for a moment. Like I said, I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot about like the holistic industry, and a lot about the spiritual industry also. I think next time I'll talk about that, being the spiritual side of being a side therapist, and all the stuff that I learned, and how it brought me to the point of where I am now. But like I said, it all wasn't um in it all wasn't a bad journey. It was, unfortunately, it's just some of these places and people, that's why some people say they don't like to deal with the public, man, because it's people are, especially nowadays, people are crazy out here. They really are. It doesn't take anything for anybody to want to ruin your day or your life, over something crazy. So, so again, glad I was blessed with the foresight to kind of see what was coming. And I remember it was 2018. I remember, well, I'll tell you this story. It was at a Massage Envy out here in Houston. And was a manager. She was actually sleeping with the therapist. And there was a big lawsuit because of that, you know. And I think she got fired. This was like, I don't know, 2000. Man, this might have been like 2012. I think I had moved around that time. I think I moved and left and went to another city. But yeah, man. So she was sleeping with the therapist, and it was a whole crazy sexual harassment thing. So massage is wild, man. There was one lady, she was selling drugs out of the Massage Envy out here. And it was like, it's just people. I'm telling you, man. I think back at all, a lot of stuff is I could laugh at it now, but when I look back at that, I'm like, man, look, to I remember there was one male therapist. He was like in the room, like, I guess he called himself a ladies man, like a little Filipino guy. And he got caught up with one lady. The lady called her husband. Something happened in the room, and apparently there was some kind of sexual something. I don't know, but so the lady went called her husband. I think her husband might have been a cop, if I remember correctly. So the manager, uh, the guy, he was under the table crying, like, and the other therapist was like, "Bro, don't cry, nah. You made your bed, you gotta lay in it, And that's what I never did. Like, I propositioned like that from some women, yes, but did I go down that road? Hell no. Glad I didn't, because it's just not worth it, man. It's just people who, you know, people are just ready to ring. But he did that to himself. Looking back, and the crazy thing is that, like, that was 2000. I don't know, or early 2000. Maybe let's say that was 2010. Like, or 2010, 2009 when that happened. I met him like 2000, maybe, I don't know, 14, 16, something like that. And he's still working in the industry. And that's the thing. Like, I've heard story like that, like some people, some of those, there's like the mafia, man. Some of those therapists were just protected, and but I always knew, I knew little old me. I knew I wasn't gonna be protected. I knew to protect myself. Seriously. I don't care if they would go to the front. Oh, that massage, I didn't like it. Like, okay, cool. I could live to see another day. That's shit. People say that they don't like this or don't like that. You know how jittery people are. F them. But I'm glad that looking back that I didn't go down that road. But anyway, to finish that story, during that time, the manager pulled his car to the back, of the place, and so he, he jumped in his car and left. Eventually, they caught up with him, and he went to court, and I don't know, something happened, but it's just, it just goes in that industry. If you're a guy, and I don't know if you watched this video, like somebody told me before I left Louisiana, your professionalism is everything, man, and how you carry yourself, and how you handle certain situations, man, is so, it's so crucial. And at that point, I wasn't gonna lose my license because I worked too hard for it, and I was still, loving what I was doing. But fast forward, 2018 came, and like I said, I went to the last place I was it was like the last roundup, you know. It was like the shootout at high noon. So anyway, I went back to this place. I had worked there before, and one thing I know about life is that once a door is closed, don't bang on that door to go to try to open it back. So it's like a job, people. Once it's over, man. You know, and then it's just, you know, it's just time. It was just time for me to move on, and that's what I had to learn from that. And so, because I remember it was one my last day, and I worked on one guy. And two other people were like, oh, we didn't like this. So at that point, I was like, yeah, these people aren't changing. I'm like, it's time for me to get out of here. And I wasn't, at the point, I wasn't getting paid anything anyway. Those little like McDonald's drive-through massage places. You know what I mean? Like they don't pay you crap. Now, am I still a big proponent of myself? Of course. Man, if it's the right person in a professional setting, heck yeah, man. Me, like, since I like to work out now, and if I uh stress and the muscles and muscle memory, the muscles hold stress. And I remember I did one session with a lady. This was like 2000, maybe like 2015, and like they taught us in school, like if somebody has it's called an emotional release. Like she was like, oh, I was working on her shoulder or her back, and she just started like crying, and I asked her, was she okay? And she said, yeah. She said, it's just, I remember an old boyfriend, and he used to, blah blah. I think she said he passed away, so the lights were kind of down, so I just raised the lights up, gave her a moment, just kind of let her get through it, because you in that situation, you don't want to rush it, you really want the person to take their time, especially if it's an emotional situation like that, seriously. But but anyway, the interesting thing about it, man, is that when what they say, when the fat lady sings, it's time to move on. And and then that's what I did. And I'm glad. I'm happy that, I was able to do it. And I'm happy that I was able to help a lot of people, man, because these hands and elbows and forearms have a lot of miles on them from all. Yeah, confirmation is right. It's have a lot of miles on them, man. But you know, uh yes, thank you for sitting down and listening to my TED talk about why I left massage therapy. Do I still have the skill set? Yeah, but I use it now more in my spiritual practice, where I can just sit down and talk to people and have a conversation, and from that, I was able to do, I was able to do some amazing things, and still going to move on and do some amazing things in my life, and over my lifetime. So excited for what is for what is yet to come, and I'm thankful when I look back at what it was, and all the things that I learned, man, and all the people who I came in contact with from school, going to, but this has been a lot, because I've been wanting to talk about this, but there's so much more to talk about when it comes to that. But I'll just say, like, if you're a guy, I would say, if you're someone who's like, well, I want to go to massage therapy school, I go for it, man. Seriously, just go for it. Uh, if you're a young lady, just kind of be careful of where you work, and if you're going to work by yourself, just make sure you have people around you who know what's going on, and where you are at all times, and what's going on, in the room, and if you're a guy, same thing. Just make sure you're a professional in what you're doing. And if it was for me, if it was something weird, I would stop the session. Seriously, I would go to the front, tell them, hey, look, this is going on, be it a medical emergency or just something, you know, out of the blue. I remember one time I heard a story about a therapist. He headbutted, literally, he fell asleep during the session and he headbutted the it was, I don't know, a lady, or I think it was a lady. He headbutted the client. And this, he was, I think that he kept, I think he kept his job, but I'm not sure. But it was just, it's the craziest stuff, man, you hear about. But I hear about those, like I've done research about, like people on the internet, the sexual assaults and stuff in the rooms, and too rich for my blood. I'm good. I'm good on that stuff, man. You keep that. It's just not even worth it. It is just it's just not worth it, man. Like, for real, it is not worth it. Not my somebody, like a therapist I used to work with, used to say, not my circus, not my monkey. So now I'll just leave that at that. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you guys want to book an amazing session, uh, an amazing spiritual life coaching session, hit me up. I'm going to be doing. I'm going to start my classes again very soon. So the first class that I'm going to be doing is, master, is going to be 3-part master class, mastering your spiritual gifts, and I'll be setting that up, and I'll let you know about that very, very, very soon, and how you can sign up and all that good stuff. But all righty, folks. Again, this is Mr. Soul Lover Man 504. Thank y'all so much for joining me. But as always, I'm out this piece, folks.